And welcome back, my friends, to another exciting episode where today we're going to explore a very important topic, the topic of covetousness. So thanks for joining us today here at ColeJakeTV. If you open your Bibles, we're in Luke chapter 12. Remember where we left off yesterday, verse 13. And today, you're going to see attitudes in regard to material possessions. To my friends at NCM, I'd like you to pay close attention to this message today. I think this one's very important for all of us to harness and take to heart. Attitudes in regards to material possessions. To my friends here at ColeJakeTV, watch what God says about covetousness. Let's open up our Bibles. Verse 13. Then one from the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But Jesus said to him, "Man, who made me a judge or an arbiter over you?" And he said to them, "Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses." Let's briefly stop at the end of verse 15 and dig into these rich verses of text between 13 and 15. Teacher, he doesn't come to Jesus asking him in a kind manner, "Tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." If you recall in the past few lessons we've had, Jesus has just taught on our great value to God and on the importance of standing for Him in the power and indwelling Spirit of God. Trusting God, leaning on God, relying on God, letting God lead. In the midst of this teaching, a man interrupts Jesus to ask him, in fact, it sounds more like he's telling him, take his side in a financial dispute. A bold claim, a bold demand. Well, let's go back. A little history. According to the law of the day, now recall, the elder brother was entitled to receive 2/3 of the inheritance, where the younger brother or brothers received 1/3. So this man did not ask Jesus to listen to both sides, did he? Doesn't ask him to make a righteous judgment, does he? He asked Jesus to side with him against his brother. Tell my brother to divide the inheritance is the declaration that he demands. Obviously, Jesus' previous words we heard yesterday about the need for full commitment and God's care, dependence on Him, trust in Him, for us didn't quite penetrate this man's heart. In a way, he feels like he needs to fight for what is his. Flies in the face of resting in the Lord, doesn't it? I think if each of them learned the real meaning of life, they would see that God is the true riches they desire. That which is priceless cannot be bought. Jesus' response is pretty profound. Let's read that again. Man, who made me a judge or an arbiter over you? A bit of a play on words, is it not? I don't think it is because Jesus is unconcerned with justice. I believe he's too aware of the covetousness that resides in this man's heart. And that covetousness would do him more harm than good if left unattended. You know, we may fight and fight for what's ours. I don't think Jesus felt it was his responsibility to judge every matter and solve every problem. You see times people trying to sort of catch him, sneak a question in for their own benefit. I think here is where the deceptive nature of the heart is such a challenge. We often mask our covetousness by claiming that we are on some righteous crusade, or it's our righteous right, or we need something that we may or may not really need. We want it. You know, great possessions are generally accompanied with pride, idleness, and luxury. And these are the greatest enemies to salvation. You know, to divide property, in this particular case, had Jesus stepped in, divided this property between two covetous men, what is it doing? It's just preparing for future strife. I think to make men free of covetousness, you make men free and they find peace. I think what Jesus says here is so profound. One's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. Wow. That is a profound statement. This is the overall principle I think Jesus is trying to get across to us in this message, my friends. And I believe this overall principle that Jesus will develop in the following teaching on material things that we'll get into tomorrow with the parable of the rich fool will open up our eyes in ways maybe they've never been opened before. When we live with the attitude that our life does consist in what we possess, we lose sight of why we're here. If we live that way, with a focus on possessions, always a new shiny object, we live in covetousness. And covetousness is idolatry. If covetousness sneaks into your heart, be aware of it. It's a desire, almost a craving for things, luxury. It breeds idleness. We have to be aware that our greatest possession is that which God gives, our salvation, the pearl of great price. And in that moment of walking with the Lord, sharing the Lord, testifying of the Lord, and bringing others into an understanding of what God is doing in our lives and in the lives of others we encounter, the things of this world become less and less of an allure. And the things of God, the things of above, seek ye these things which are above. Not the things of this world, but spiritual things, things that are everlasting, things that are eternal. All of us have the ability to like certain things, to be drawn and allured of them. But when we get to a place where they become a priority in our lives, we've gotten to a place of covetousness. And we need to set it down, because covetousness is idolatry. And God says, be aware of this, because it has the ability to seep into the hearts of any one of you. And that's what he's trying to get across here. So let's Leave us here until we catch up tomorrow, where we'll pick up where we left off in verse 16. Until then, I'm your messenger GB here at CJTV. Come back and join us tomorrow. Until then, have a blessed day.